The scripture says to the Greek, it's foolishness. To the Jew, it's a stumbling block. For many, accepting the cross and believing Jesus Christ is the Son of God just keeps the door shut. It just seems too simple. Let me say this. I am amazed at the amount of Bahamians who I classify as atheists. I am amazed at people I grew up in Sunday school with who don't believe in God. I was in a restaurant the other day only to have a pseudo-intellectual sit down there and try to convince the entire restaurant that this was the white man's book. And because the white man gave us that in slavery, and we run in with it, and that makes you just as stupid as the slave. No better, no worse. And he went talking about some of the writings in the Old Testament in other books, and so it couldn't come from God. You know what I mean, Dr. Ferguson? You know what I mean, Brother Ferguson? That these little educated, no one has it all, now believe that they are great scholars, and they could take the Sunday school lessons and throw them away. Because you see, now they're full of themselves. Now they're Dr. So-and-so. Now they're, so some of you looking at me kind of sure, I've been to school too. And just about everything that's here had another name. Before it was this, it was the Nubian church. Anybody remember the Nubian race? When I was in school, the Nubian race was a big thing. Some of you still wear the Nubian cross. That's the cross with the circle on top. Many of you don't know what that means. So I got some young people here. I can't tell you that's a mother's womb. Look at how they defile the cross. In other words, they're saying that you should worship. Okay, you got it. You got it. It's called the Nubian race. And we've had deviations of it reoccur. Louis Farrakhan was scooping up young blacks as far as the eye could see when I was in college. I went to a historically black college, and every day you heard about black power. Every day you heard about lifting up yourself, being great people who've come from a great, and I sat there and I realized, thank God I had a worldview bigger than the struggle. That God had brought me to a place where I realized, yes, there was great injustice done to my race, but God always had the last say. That just like the Egyptian, he can take the tail and make it the head. All I've got to do is fall in love with a God that keeps you in the time of trouble. That even the slaves, when they found themselves the trouble, would sing a song, steal away to Jesus. That even in the greatest of trouble, they knew from whence their help. So this young man is talking about words he doesn't know about, talking about the Hammurabi Code and talking about the Torah and these words, and he's saying so deep, and I couldn't take no more. I said, sir, could you tell me what language the Old Testament in particular you're talking about was written in? Okay. I said, now, here's what I want you to realize. If you do a little more research, you would see that certain of these writings, if you just take a good Bible, in the top it will tell you that these are historical sayings. That they were passed down, you know, like how we would pass down sayings, that they were passed down from generation to generation. I got one word for you. I said, the book that you quoted, this book outdates that book. If you look in this, the scroll is older than the one you quoted, so who copied who? I said, before you assume everybody you're talking to don't have just as much sense as you, please assume that we serve a God that can educate everybody. We serve a God that can give you a PhD and still give you common sense. We serve a God that can give you life and help you to realize He's the life giver. He's the one that's keeping you. He's the one that's protecting you. But so many of us have walked away from our roots. I have one question to ask you. Is our nation better? Can we look at the Bahamas and say, because of our choices, we've created, quote unquote, a better Bahamas? Let me say this to you as I prepare to close. You have an opportunity today. I can't guarantee tomorrow. You have an opportunity today to make reservations for heaven. You have the ability to make sure that when you get to the gates of heaven, your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. I know, like I said before, it seems too simple. But all you've got to do is open up your heart and let Jesus come in. Many people won't make the decision for Christ today because they put off for tomorrow what they can do today. They always believe there will always be a tomorrow. Let me say this to you. There's no place in the Bible that is ever recorded that Jesus went back to visit. In other words, this inn stable has more recognition than the inn itself, because the inn didn't let Jesus in. You will catch this in my clothes. But some of you, by yourself, think you're going to be remembered. But still, only what's done for Christ will last. That you might be too educated to let him in. But some of us grew up in the States. I bid you a good morning, New Destiny. Some of us had it a little rough. I couldn't clean it up if I wanted to. I tried Omo, but it couldn't wash me white as snow. I tried Special Tide, yeah, and it couldn't wash me and make me as white as snow. I don't know about you, but I went to the cross of Calvary and he washed me in the blood of Jesus. Touch a neighbor and say, I don't know how he does it. I haven't been able to figure out how he can take red blood and apply it to a black heart and wash it and make it as white as snow. I don't know how he could take a sinner saved by grace, one that had a track record of messing up, and dress him up and put him behind the pulpit and say, preach my gospel. But only God can take swaddling clothes and make them clothes for the king. Do I have a witness? Only God can take people with hardly nothing living on this side of the equator and make it the jewel of the world. Only God can take the seas and put it on this side of heaven and cause you to have crystal clear water, and yet you get beside yourself. But let me tell you that no matter where they put you, no matter how far they put you behind the back of the situation, God can still cause the star to shine in the east. I bid you good morning. I don't know about you, but wherever God puts a Christian, you will shine. Whatever God puts you, you will shine. No matter if they put you behind the scene, you will shine, because there's something inside of you. Someone said Jesus came in. That when Jesus showed up, people will leave where they're at and they will come to your island and say, show me where you laid the king. That I don't know about you, but can I tell you, this Christmas I plan to honor the king. I might not have another time. You take it for granted. I might not have another Christmas, but while I'm someone here this Christmas, let me give him a thank you for what he has already done. If God has done anything for you, I need 2 or 3 of you to join me in thanking him for what he has already done. And I know he's not finished yet, that if he gives me some more life, there's more that he has in store for me. But just in case you don't see me again, let me tell him thank you for health and strength. Let me tell you thank you for bringing me from nowhere to somewhere. Let me tell him thank you that I should have been dead. I should have been quiet by death, but God been good to me. He said that everything, he said that everything that borrowed my breath this morning, he said that everything that has breath, he said you ought to, yes, someone say Jesus. He's the lily of the valley, shout Jesus. He's the bright and morning star, shout Jesus. He's on his way, and because he lives, I can face, yes, because he lives, I can face tomorrow. I know trouble is on the way, but he walks with me, yes, and he talks with me, and he tells me, yeah. One writer said, just a little talk with Jesus makes it, I feel better now. That sometimes you don't feel like putting one foot in front of another, but thank God the Spirit of the Lord is upon you, and because he has anointed you, you're able. Someone say you're able. Which I'm dealing with, I'm able. Someone say thank you. I couldn't handle it without him. Tell him thank you. I couldn't. Something about that man. And no matter what part of town you came from, it only matters if you let Jesus in. It doesn't matter what your resume says. It only matters if you let Jesus in. Jesus still makes a difference. So many of us are closing our hearts to Jesus. I know you said, not me, Pastor, but then who? If you haven't let Jesus in, you can't blame nobody but yourself. There comes a time, my parents say, every tub stand on its own bottom. I can remember a time when I was taken to church, whether I wanted to go or I didn't want to go. I was taken to church. And I thank God for that. And now I'm the one doing the taking. And I realize what prayers can do. I tried them for myself. And I just got one thing to say to you. If you haven't run into something that is bigger than you, keep on living. If you haven't gotten to a place that only God could open up a window, only he could help you to make it true, keep on living. Then you would know what it is to say, he is my all in all. I don't know about you, but I've tried it on my own. Tried to make it on my own. Tried to do things on my own. But I realized I only made a mess of it. But when I turned it over to him, even the mess, he turned into a message. Only God can take my frailties and make it a part of my testimony. Only God can take my weakness and make it his strength. Is there one here today? And let me say this to you. You all have to make a decision to let Jesus in our heart. So the person next to you had to make that decision too. But here's the thing. when you get for the judgment day. The Bible says the secrets of all hearts will be revealed.